Hey Gemini, how's it going? This is going to be your reading for May of 2017. My name is Dre. If you want a reading from me, email me. Follow my Twitter if you want. So let's get started. So, Gemini, astrologically, um, things have been interesting. um, the cardinal cross is affecting everybody. But so's all the planets in mutable signs, namely Neptune and Saturn. And for you guys right now, I'm going by the new moon and the full moon that happened not that long ago, as of my recording this. The new moon in Taurus, which was in your 12th house, and the full moon in Scorpio, which was your 6th. So it's more like getting back. It's hard to, the 6th and 12th houses are difficult to sort of talk about because, the 6th house is ruled by Virgo. That's like working routine. 12th house is ruled by Pisces. That's like our unconscious. So it's like there's probably a part of you guys, like your routine, your habits, your day-to-day, that you just need to take a closer look at, that you need to re-examine where you're being wasteful, where you're not really owning up to certain responsibilities, certain obligations. But also, like, with all the cardinal energy, Jupiter in Libra, Uranus in Aries, Pluto in Capricorn, like getting back in touch with your own uniqueness, your own individuality, on a personal level, but also on a larger scale, the people you belong with, like your tribe, or like reconnecting with your family, having fun again, and just actually understanding, taking this Jupiter in Libra period, which is in your 5th house, and understanding how relationships work, what it means, like the sort of people you need to bring into your life, the sort of people that you need to have fun with, and you might meet people, or you should be meeting people. But Jupiter is retrograde, so right now all that energy is kind of different. But anyway, bottom of the deck we have the Page of Cups. We have the Two of Wands. We have the Seven of Cups. We have the Fool. Six of Cups, and the Page of Swords. We have the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Wands. We have the Five of Cups, the Hangman, and the Ten of Cups. This is the Golden Thread Tarot. I won't be reading reversals for this month. And I'm going to pull one more card. And we have the High Priestess. So I feel like joy is out there for you guys. Happiness. Something new. Happy birthday, by the way, if you are a May Gemini. We are going to be in Gemini season not too long from now. So, you guys are ready. You should be ready. I feel like with this Two of Wands and this Nine of Pentacles, a lot of you are just ready to actually start something new or come back, maybe during the Mercury retrograde. Mercury rules Gemini. A lot of you were like holding off on making new plans, holding off on doing anything different, just waiting. Or maybe that energy was difficult to work with because you probably were in the midst of creating something or going through something that was sort of difficult to manage. But now with the sun about to go into your 1st house, joining with your natal sun, if you're a Gemini sun, Again, sun, moon, and rising, these will be general. But I feel like a lot of you guys get in the mood to have fun, get in the mood to actually experience life sort of different, um, to experience the weather, to experience, because the Page of Cups is represented in some decks by summer, or the cups in general are represented as summer, and summer is around the corner. So yeah, just get in that mood, have fun. But I feel like some of you, especially if you have an idea, if you have a passion, if you have a pursuit, if you have an interest, don't be afraid to go out there and actually try something. Try something different. Because I feel like some of you, you've put the work in, you've put the work out there. For some of you, you could be starting your own business. For some of you, you could be somebody. I'm seeing the end of something and the beginning of another thing with this 10 here. So maybe for some of you, it's just like you go on vacation or you finally move in with somebody. It's just like you don't have to do this all on your own. I do feel this sense of you merging with something, whether it's an actual person, if it's somebody else that you're dating or that you've been in a long-term relationship with, either that or you're finally more comfortable in stepping out on your own and making a decision for yourself and making a choice for yourself, deciding what you want to do as we're going into Gemini season. Excuse me. And like, don't be like overwhelmed by any opportunity. Like, don't be overwhelmed by, because there might be like just negative self-talk. There might be a part of yourself that's just highly questioning, where you're just like, you're overthinking. You're probably already, some of you are probably already stretched out too thin anyway. So I feel like some of you really need to decide what part of your life needs to be sort of cut out, cut off, sort of trimmed away. There's a lot of fat here that needs to be trimmed for some of you, especially if you have like emotional. Because with the 10 of Wands, it's all about just a stressful burden. Some of you could be doing plenty of things. You know, I'm a Gemini rising, and you know, I'm working 2 jobs, and I just finished a semester. So you know, it's deciding whether or not is anything worth. You know, what's worth it and what's not. What's worth all of your time and what isn't. Is there something that you can chill out on? Something that you can, again, cut from your life. And for others of you, it's like you've already made that choice, or the choice is being made for you, and you might be just like, well, I don't want this to happen. I don't like the fact that this is going this way. And that's something that you need to just understand and be patient with and be wise about. Whenever I give tarot readings, patience is always like an important thing, especially if you have certain cards here. Like we have the Hangman. But there's certain times when it's just like we shouldn't. It's always important to react, but there's also times when we need to actually just like reflect, not react. I don't know how to put that, but it's just like just be chill for a moment. Especially because some of you are making a decision, you're coming to a choice, or there's a situation around you where it's just like you can either go with this or you can go with that. But it's not that easy. There's like all these other variations to it. And I feel like a lot of you are wearing yourselves down thinking about that. Or a lot of you you're just like, you're withholding. You're not withholding. It's like you're in pause still. But, you know, again, probably now because the sun is technically still in Taurus in your 12th house. So I feel like as it goes into your first house, as we go into Gemini season, a lot of you will be more willing to be more confident, a lot more willing to take chances. For some of you, this is attached to like emotional disappointment, emotional heartbreak. Some of you are in some of you have been like emotionally devastated recently by somebody that you're either close to, like a family member, or that you're married to, or that you've been in a long-term relationship with. But with this High Priestess here, allow yourself the chance to gain wisdom from this, to gain sort of a higher perspective, to see it as the truth as it is, as the most objective truth as you. I mean, we don't just come to that realization. We have to actually go through the struggle and go through the pain and go through the heartbreak. And, and we have to be transformed by it. It's a 5. So it's not like you will stay here forever. When you come out of it, you will be a totally different person. You will be totally reborn, totally new. But that's only if you guys are willing to take that chance, to take the opportunity to sort of do something really different, to do something that you wouldn't normally do. And Uranus in Aries makes aspects to, it speaks in the sky to the Gemini energy, especially those of you born like towards the end of Gemini. The ones of you that were born, before, you probably already kind of felt this, but for those of you, especially, you're probably a June Gemini. There's this call to you to actually sort of break outside your normal routine, to sort of stand in your own individuality, which is what the Fool is. And some people see the Fool as being ruled by Uranus, but it's also this very, it's the most assertive, I don't know how to call it, but it's like free from consciousness. It's just like taking a risk, taking a leap. And, for some of you, you're probably more here in the practical world. Like, well, there are certain things that you can't do. Obviously, we all have our limitations. But I feel like allow yourself to come to a sort of breakthrough with your emotions. Talk to people. Get out there. Like, I can even see, like, the Fool, like, the internet. Like, talk to people online. Excuse me. If you have, like, no support system around you, open up to different people. Or, like, just try new things. Because some of you might just be depressed right now. Or some of you just might be so discouraged from actually trying to do something different, from doing something new. But I feel like if you guys, like, just in pieces, because this is a process, this is the 5 of Cups, in little ways, in ways that surprise you, like just, keep a journal, or just go out walking if you've never been out walking, or, go take in a movie if you usually don't go to the movies, or go to a concert or something. It's summer, again, have all these things like in your head, have all these things planned out, because again, with the Page of Cups here, this is all about trying to bring in new, fresh joy, fresh love, fresh energy. It's just like the thrill of life, the thrill of love, essentially, really, with the Page of Cups. The thrill of communication, the thrill of just enjoying everything, just totally enjoying everything. And so what you have to ask yourself is, are you ready for this? Because we have the 6 of Cups and the Hangman. The 6 of Cups can be about reflection, because you've probably reached this moment in your life where you're just like, well, I could probably have more, but you've probably gotten a little bit complacent, or you've probably just gotten so used to the status quo. But with the 6 of Cups, it's all about, it's a card of healing too. It's just like, well, and asking yourself, where have you placed too much emphasis outside of yourself? And where do you need to bring it all back in? Bring it so that you're cool on the inside, because your outside is cool. I feel like there's this disconnect here where it's just like you are either putting all of your time into solving everybody else's problems, or you are too afraid to actually, again, go out and try to bring more of this love that you want in life. You're afraid to go out there and get it. You're afraid to go out there and like actually bring it in. And for some of you, this has been a waiting game, or it's something that you've been dealing with for a while, and that you have to like just sort of, again, be patient with. If there's any card that's all about patience, the most is the Hangman. And so it's just like, you're going to learn so much about yourself during this time period. You're going to learn, especially, again, as the sun is going into your sign, and we have all of these other planets doing their own thing in the background, where it's more like the results won't be immediate. They won't be immediately immediately necessary. Some of the results probably aren't necessary. Probably like for some of you, you're intentionally shying away from like living in your true heart path, your true desire path, or whatever, because that's what that new moon in Taurus is about. I told every other sign this. That new moon in Taurus was reconnecting with the truth about ourselves, like the no bullshit, like sort of this is real about me. And for Gemini, it's harder because Taurus is in your 12th house, and the 12th house is this whole other thing. It's its own thing. I mean, they all are, but the 12th house is really weird. And so it's like your higher fantasies, your higher dreams, that dreamy, like creative part of yourself that you just really don't think about. And look where Pisces is in your chart. For most of you, it's probably in the 10th house. For me, I'm a Gemini rising. It's 11th house. Look where Neptune is, your natal Neptune. And just see, like, where do I need to place most of my emphasis? Where are my dreamy, especially if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, or if you have a lot of 12th house stuff, focus more so on that, like uncovering, like, either the false restrictions that you put on yourself, the false restrictions that have come before you. 12th house is like very generational house, I see, where it's just like it's not only our history and the history of like our parents and grandparents and it's our ancestors. It's the conditioning that we've passed down, and the sort of the part of ourselves that we haven't been willing to explore because we don't have those tools. In the 12th house, we don't really have access to it. Even if you have a lot of planets there, it's still hard to sort of grab onto what is going on there. And so for a lot of you, it's there's just this huge blind spot. But I feel like it's directly related to the work you do, like the type of work you choose to do. Like, are you actually passionate about your job? If we're looking at the 6th house where Scorpio had the full moon, are you working at a place that's comfortable for you? Do you like working here? Are you passionate about this place? Could you do without working here? What about your daily routine? What about your health? Are you taking all the steps necessary? For some of you, you might have like maybe intestinal problems, or there might have been like a health scare, or it's just like you've sort of lost all passion to do what you've been doing. And so it's all about reconnecting with that, reflecting, understanding what that is for you. Is it really work, or is it that, you maybe put too much, again, you're too intense with taking care of other people to where you're ignoring yourself. You've lost yourself. Or again, you could just be working at a job you don't like. You could be just, the people you're dating life, the 6th house isn't really dating, but the 5th house is. That's where Jupiter is. So it's like you've probably been meeting a lot of people. It's just like not a lot of them are, meeting your standards. So it's all about like reflecting about the things that you haven't really thought of before. Because some of you, the Gemini energy is sort of impulsive. So you do things while thinking, because Gemini is a sign of thinking, but it's not like you need to put more depth into those thoughts, into more of a grounded, practical sort of way, into whether or not these choices are actually sustainable going forward, and whether or not they're feasible and they're healthy for you going forward. And so with the Page of Swords and the 10 of Cups here, it's like you can, how can I put this? All it takes is a different mindset. The Hangman is also about changing perspective. So again, with this being the number 12 and the sun being in the 12th house, reflecting, sort of try to see your life from a different perspective. Sort of try to see your life as if like, well, what if I did this instead of doing this? Like, what if I took that trip, or what if I quit this job? Are you really going to be that miserable if you do that? Are you really going to be that The 12th house, because I have, Taurus 12th house to me is like poverty consciousness. And, I can relate to that. So it's like having this intense desire to be sort of stable, but not really having that stability granted to us naturally. We really have to work hard for it. But, stability comes at what price? Does it come at the price of your happiness? Does it come to the expense that you'd rather be married to somebody who just treats you like trash, but you'd rather, stay with that person because, it's practical to do so? These are the sort of things you have to ask yourself. These are the sort of things that you need to become familiar with and understand that this way of thinking it doesn't have to be typical. It doesn't have to be expected. It doesn't have to be the truth. It could be anything. 10 of Cups. It could be anything. But whether or not you choose to think about it realistically, whether or not you choose to like transform yourself, because a lot of you are in pain or a lot of disappointment or a lot of heartbreak. Things aren't that easy right now to like just up and make a choice, make a decision. But again, like I said, when we're going through the Gemini season, when that's coming up, allow yourself more time to actually just sort of have fun, but also chill and reflect. Think about like, I'm having fun now, but could I have more fun? Or, things really aren't that fun for me, but, understand that you deserve to have a good time as well. That your happiness shouldn't be or that your misery shouldn't just be something that is just you. You should not just bask in your misery or bask in sadness or bask in loneliness on your own. Reach out. Don't be afraid to actually tell people how you feel. Tell people what you think, and try things a little bit differently. You don't have to change the world overnight. You don't have to change your life overnight, but tiny things, little pieces, and you'll be surprised what you'll find doing this. So yeah, that's that, Gemini, and I will see you guys later. And happy birthday. Bye.